Storing a dado blade is all about keeping everything organized and in one spot. Now, this dado blade storage case is the perfect solution. You got your scoring blades stored on one side, keeping them safe and secure. And then on the other side, you've got the chippers and the shims you're going to need to fine-tune the fit. Now, what I really like about this storage case is how easy it is to build. I've already got my parts cut to size. There's a center panel, a bottom, a couple side pieces, and a couple pieces for the top. Now, there's going to be a little joinery work you'll need to do to put everything together. Now, the bottom fits into a dado near this edge, and the top pieces fit in a similar dado up at the top. Now, I can take care of all this work with a dado blade at the table saw. After installing a 1/4-inch dado blade, I positioned my rip vents to act as a stop. Then, I made a cut at the bottom of each side. Next, I adjusted the rip vents to cut the dado to final width, and checked to verify that it matched the thickness of my plywood. Finally, I used the same process to cut the dados at the top end of the sides. Well, that takes care of the dados for the top pieces and the bottom. There's still a little joinery work to do. To fit the center panel in place, I'm going to cut some centered grooves in the sides as well as the bottom. Now, to ensure that that groove is perfectly centered, I'm going to turn to the dado blade and my table saw once again. Using my 1/4-inch dado blade, I positioned the rip vents to cut just slightly off the center of my workpiece. Then I made a single pass. To center the groove, I flipped the workpiece around and made a second pass. Finally, using the same process, I readjusted the rip vents and widened the groove until it matched the thickness of the center panel. Well, that takes care of all the joinery work, but the sides still have a few sharp edges. So to ease those, I used a little sandpaper to round the bottom corners, and after trimming off the top, I sanded those smooth as well. Now, the rest of the work on the storage case takes place on the center panel. Now, the first thing to do is create a cutout near the top edge. Now, this is going to form a comfortable handle for toting the case around in your shop. Now, to make the cutout, I drilled a hole at each end, and then I removed the bulk of the waste with a jigsaw. Finally, I smoothed the edges at the router table. Now, if you'd like to see a free video using a flush trim bit in your router table to create smooth, straight edges, go to our website at woodsmithshop.com. Now, there are a couple more things to take care of on the center panel, and the first is this hole right here. It accepts a coupling nut like this and allows you to store the scoring blades on one side and the chippers on the other. Now, you may need to knock off these corners with a file and some sandpaper in order to allow the blades and chippers to slide over easily. Now, the nut's held in place with epoxy in the center panel. Now, the one thing to keep in mind is the nut needs to extend further out one side of the case to store all the chippers and less on the other to store the scoring blades. Now, I did one other thing to make it easy to remove the blades and the chippers, and that's to install these rubber bumpers. They help lift the blades and chippers up off the center panel and just makes them easier to remove. I also installed those bumpers around the outside edges and along the bottom to prevent the edges from getting banged up. Now, this project also takes care of one other thing, and that's storing the shims you'll need to fine-tune the fit of your dados. Now, that's pretty simple. You just need to drill a hole here, install a T-nut, and then hold the shims in place with a washer and a knob. What you end up with is a handy storage case. It's easy to tote around the shop and keeps your blade protected at the same time.
Woodsmithplans.com. Hundreds of professional, high-quality woodworking plans right at your fingertips. Every single plan is presented as an easy-to-download digital package that includes pages of step-by-step instructions, full-color photos, illustrations, and exploded views, retail sources for hardware and supplies, plus a cutting diagram and materials list. Many plans offer handy video overviews and guides. Plus, we're proud to offer our plans in both standard and metric. Everything is here, from gorgeous heirloom furniture projects to handy shop projects and upgrades, clever, cost-effective storage solutions, as well as weekend projects and accessories that are great for gifts. All fully searchable and categorized for easy browsing. Woodsmithplans.com, everything you need for building fine woodworking projects.